It's Men's Health Month. It's about a month long. It's about men and health. It's also about encouraging your male friends, your brothers, your fathers, boyfriends, about caring for their bodies. Sometimes it seems simple, but it helps to give people reminders to get things like regular checkups, to eat right, and to exercise.
So our 9 health expert, Dr. Pyle Coley, is here with some advice for men.
Thank you.
It's my Father's Day gift.
We're going to give him a little nudge.
I need it.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is about men. I think there's a lot of things, but men are not as eager to get into the doctor's office or make those appointments. What would you say to them?
Kim, you're right. I mean, science has shown that men are more lax about their health, and what it translates into is that men on average die 5 years earlier than women. So it actually can affect life expectancy because they're not as good at getting their act together. So I would say this is really a time to empower, to educate, and to make some healthy, positive changes. And I'm joking about Father's Day, but I think for every father in our life, this would be a great gift to really remind them to get their screenings.
For those who may not go to the doctor and get their checkup, what do you tell them? Are there 3 things, 5 things, a couple of things that are just basics? Do this, do less of that, more of this?
So I would say the biggest, I think you just mentioned, is what we put into our bodies is extremely important. I always like to say food is the first best medicine, so you shouldn't eat medicine if you're eating the right thing. So really be mindful of your diet. Cut the calories as you get older, because we're really supposed to do that by about 10% for every decade of our life. So don't keep eating the same things you're eating. Move. Get out of that chair and be active, because that's what our bodies were designed. We evolved to be active. And then the third piece is get those screenings, because preventing disease is much better than curing it. And we know that 80% of heart attacks and strokes are preventable.
Well, let's talk about men over 65, the older
specific
group. What are the screenings that you say you have to have?
I would say 3 categories. So one is cancer. So you want to make sure you do your prostate cancer screening. That's a blood test called a PSA. Colon cancer, we've talked about colonoscopies before. And then skin cancer is one we sometimes forget about.
Yes.
And then second is nutritional. So as we get older, we don't absorb vitamins in quite the same way. So you want to check your vitamin B12, your calcium, and your vitamin D. And then the third, which is close to my heart, is vascular screening, your blood vessels. As you get older, they get stiffer, they get aged. So you have to make sure you check those blood tests. Check a test called a calcium score, which tells you if you have blockages or not. And then if you've ever smoked, you need an abdominal aortic aneurysm screening.
Wow. And so that covers a lot for those men 65 and older. Really hoping my dad's taking some of this in right now. But also younger and all ages, testicular cancer, prostate cancer. These are the tests that no one wants to talk about, but boy, we hear about it all the time.
You know, I'm so glad you brought that up, because between age 15 and age 40 is the peak incidence of testicular cancer, which means that all the men in our lives in that age group should be doing self-testicular exams once a month after the shower, which many of them, you know, especially teenagers and our kids, don't really even know that they're supposed to do. And then as we turn 40, if we have risk factors, we should start looking for prostate cancer. And for the average risk person, we can wait till 50.
You know, the shame is always the idea that you will discover these things only in regret, as opposed to being proactive. And as we always talk about, and we bring it up every year and we talk about this, men may not be able to do it themselves without that push, without that little push from someone. So this message is not just for the men in the audience.
That's right.
It's for everyone.
Whoever it is that's important to you in your life that says, why don't you do that?
And maybe it's a motivation and not a push. So maybe you do it together. You know, you do your pap smears and your mammograms, and your significant other, the man in your life, does his cancer screening. But whatever it is, every single one of us, the women and the men, have to really wake up and try to change the course of disease for men, because we know that men die of heart disease, and we know that heart disease is preventable.
Check those boxes. Dr. Pyle Coley, always good to see you. Thanks.